So the case study, give me how this all started and who the company are.
Okay, so the company is called CSC Screeding. The managing director is a guy called Spencer Warner. And this gentleman, this guy, he knows his industry inside and out. He knows all there is to know about screeding. Now, do you know anything about screeding?
Well, I know you put it on the floor.
We're actually on top of some of it, okay? So now, the problem is with screeding, it's got a specific issue in that if you get it wrong, it can cost thousands of pounds to repair. So if you've got underfloor heating, you have to dig it out, relay it. Not only that, but it can put back your building, your projects, everything can go basically belly up. So you've got to get it right. So in this situation, CSC Screeding have to communicate to the market that they can do the job. Now there are all sorts of customers. There are big corporates. They could be screeding an airport. They could be screeding a conservatory. All these people communicate in different ways. So if you're working for a big corporate, they want to know about your health and safety. Are you wearing hard hats? Are you going to be compliant with waste and emissions and all the rest of it? So there are tick lists, there are tender documents, you name it. Big business, big problems, big issues. If you're at the other end, you're doing a conservatory, they don't want all of that. They just want to know that you can do it. And they want to know that you're not going to rip them off, that you're not some horrible company that's going to be on TV as a rip-off company. So different audiences need different messages.
But I mean, that must be very difficult for a single website to achieve all of that, surely. I mean, you're in this position. I mean, if we look at the website that's here now, I mean, here we've got the website, and you know, at the moment, looking at that, it looks like it's just targeting a single audience. If I was somebody that was going to that website and I was looking at it for the first time, that does look like it's for the hard hat industry.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where you have to look at the client's main business. That's where the main business is. But they don't want to lose out other sections of the business.
So how do you attract them?
So what you do is you construct that site so that you can easily get to all of those areas. So if I take you to the home page.
Okay then.
So the point of entry, you will see that there are big buttons that clearly address each market area.
Oh, right.
So you can see at the top end of the market, they've got
here it comes. Right, yes.
The ContractScreed. So the name says what it does on the tin. They're working on big contracts, big buildings, big sites. And then you've got the builders who are mid-market. They get the same level of service as the big guys, but without the hassle. And then finally, you've got the home market, the domestic market. And there you'll see an image with nice feet. And we're not into the hard hats. It's all about how nice your home's going to be. It's a dream. Yeah?
So it's aspirational, isn't it? So it's classic selling, what we're talking about here. You've got 3 different audiences, and what you're doing, you're actually putting the hotkeys into it so that effectively when they go onto their appropriate page, they feel some emotional connection with it.
Absolutely. And we've not even talked about technology, have we? So we've talked about the client and the target markets. So now you can turn that into a piece of technology. Initially, when we talked about coming on your show, it was talk about WordPress. So in this instance, the client is using WordPress, and they're using something called microsites. Yeah? So if I take you to, for example, the home microsite.
Now, I think this is amazing. The fact that what we've effectively got here are 3 websites inside a single website.
Absolutely, but the outsider doesn't necessarily see that. We as the builders will know that, we'll know what raw materials we've used, but we try and make that an easy experience for the user. So now you'll see the images have completely changed.
And a lot softer, more colour in them as well, yes.
Yeah, and what do people want to look at? They want to look at galleries of nice houses and nice setups.
So when we've got something like that and we're communicating with our 3 different sectors of our audience, how do we go about then actually maybe collecting names and making it work for us? I see we've got the telephone number on the top of it, and just recently we've been doing a little bit of research, and there were a few people we were trying to contact who first don't put their telephone number on it, make it incredibly difficult for you to contact them. Don't understand that websites now have to have T's and C's on them, have to have an address on them. There are a lot of illegal sites out there, aren't there?
Correct. But the main focus here is making it an easy experience. So you've worked hard to get someone to come to your website. Hopefully they've bought into your messages, So why would you let them down by making it difficult to contact them? So here on this particular site, we're using a very simple device. It's called a call me back button. And you know, if they're at work having their lunch, now isn't the time to be talking to a screeding company. But if they're able to easily leave their phone number, and then they can be contacted when they're needed.
Now, I'm just wondering about what we've got there. You've got this callback button. Is there any psychology going on here? Do we ask reams of information? Because the moment somebody fills in one of these callback buttons, it is a commitment to the organisation, nearly, isn't it? I mean, you are looking for information, you're showing interest in it.
Yes, you are.
Is the psychology then behind what we're doing with that design, is placement on the page and things like that?
It is. If you get to the really technical level, there's something called eye tracking, and typically you'll find these elements on the website on the right-hand side. Yeah, so you do need, earlier on when I was saying you build your own website, maybe that was a little bit in tongue-in-cheek. Yes, you provide the stories and the content, but you do need people like us to help and guide you to make it an effective website. So in this case, we're using that callback form, and actually we're asking the minimum amount of information. There are studies that show that the more information you ask for, the less likely you are to get responses. So here we're just making it very easy. Give us your name, give us your number, we'll call you back, without committing them to what potentially is a marketing campaign behind. People are very aware now of identity theft, identity fraud. They don't want to be spammed. You know? They want you to treat them reasonably. So by asking for the minimum information, we're just making that initial contact, as easy as possible.
Well, let me ask you this then. When we've got a contact form like that, there are things called autoresponders.
Yes.
Are we using an autoresponder here where you can actually put a marketing campaign together that will run automatically over a period of time? Is that what we're doing?
For this particular client, we haven't done that, but that could be done. And you know, those sorts of automated marketing, I think the new term is inbound marketing, they're becoming more and more fashionable. Yes, I mean, those things can be done. But as a business, you then have to back that off, have your terms and conditions, be very clear about how you're going to use that data, and be very, very careful about it. So, for example, let people unsubscribe. Make sure that you're cleansing those lists, so you only keep people on those lists for a certain amount of time. So you are basically offering your business up there to be scrutinised. So if you're not respecting people's contact details, over time you're devaluing your own brand. So if you're building an ethical company, you should be dealing with your customers ethically at every single level.
I suppose this goes back to something that we said on a previous programme. It isn't about numbers, is it? It is about quality of the lead that you're getting. There's no point in having 1,000 people on the database if only 5 of them are ever going to respond to you. You may as well just target those 5 precisely with exactly what they want and forget the others.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, the best business comes from referrals. So, you know, if you have one good customer on your list and they refer you to 10, they're actually doing the business for you, aren't you?
All right then, we've looked at the page, we've looked at the 3 different versions of it within the single website, and we've also looked at the response page that is on there. When it comes to the layout of the page, what's the psychology that's going through that, where we actually put the response forms, when we actually have the likes of the social media icons, the fact that we're using pictures? I mean, is pictures good? Is video better? Are they both the same? Do they have different jobs? I mean, when it comes to that design, because I know you do that too, where do you start with the design?
Okay, again, it's horses for courses. So people are at different stages in visiting your website. One might be an initial information gathering, so they're surfing your competitors, they're looking at your site, they're trying to understand. Something like Screeding, they don't know what that is, so they're trying to get an initial understanding. And then later they may come back and dig a bit deeper. Maybe, for example, in this case, there's some underfloor heating involved. So can this company deal with underfloor heating? And in that case, they will dive in deeper and deeper and deeper. So you've got to think of all the different scenarios. So some people will only come for a phone number. So why wouldn't you have the phone number on the homepage? So you're going to have people that will spend 30 seconds, some people that will do their research. And if you look at the statistics, the analytics, you'll see that some people spend minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour, just going through your site. So yes, you need images, yes, you need text, and you've got to balance that. You've got to make it informative. Give them what they're looking for. People generally don't want to be pestered, hassled. They want to be free to choose And if you can give them something that they can enjoy, find out about something, then they're much more likely to trust you as an organisation.
What about what would you say to organisations who really don't get the whole concept of what the website is trying to do, the fact that it is trying to actually support the character of the business, and really are looking for nothing more than a brochure? Is it just wasted effort?
No, it's not. Every business has its life cycle. So if a business is very established, you may find that all of the work comes through referrals. So they don't see the need to develop a website. Other businesses are growing quite aggressively, and they will wake up. Something will happen, something will get mentioned, and suddenly they get it. And it's when they get that wake-up call, then they're usually all over us. They're wanting us to do X, Y, Z, get the latest widget and all the rest of it. So it's all about the right website, the right marketing strategy, the right communication, depending on where you are, where you're going. At the end of the day, each business has its own path. Some are mature, some are growing, some are young, and it depends on your customers, what your customers are looking for.
What do you think is the most important element then when it comes to putting this together? What is the most important thing about the website? Is it the words?
It's the concepts, it's the ideas, it's the passion of the business, it's what they're trying to communicate. And depending on what they're trying to communicate, you then come up with a plan.